Hanoi is one of the attractive tourist destinations to many foreign tourists coming to Vietnam. It's not only the center of economy, politics and culture, but also a place for writers from many different countries looking for new inspiration. Along with the development of activities of international cultural exchanges, the clubs for international writers in Hanoi have been gradually founded. Hanoi Writers Collective is one of the most prominent clubs. Have been founded for a short time, Hanoi Writers Collective regularly organizes exciting activities in order to connect local and foreign writers, poets to meet up and share their works. At the same time, participating in this club also helps the international writers who come to Vietnam for the first time understand more about the Vietnamese culture, language and lifestyle, as well as the literary style.
It's great. It's really important for writers to get together and talk about their own work with each other. Helps us develop as writers, helps us to share our feelings, particularly international writers coming from different countries. We can discuss our experiences living in Vietnam, what we learn from day to day. We're all learning something different every day. So it's great to share those things, the positive and the negative, and to reflect on those experiences.
Let's find out more about the activities of the Club for the International Writers in Hanoi.
Hello and welcome to Sharing Vietnam or VTC10 NETVIET among Nhật. Right now we have a talk to Mr. JASPER ROE, founder of Hanoi Writers Collective, and he will share more about this club and its activities. Thank you, Mr. JASPER ROE, for joining our program today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So first of all, how long have you been living in Vietnam and what brought you to this country?
Right, well, I've been living in Vietnam a little bit over 2 years now. I originally came out because my brother was living here, and I was just going to visit actually for maybe a month or maybe 3 weeks, and I ended up staying. Yeah, so that's how I came here. I feel like I've settled into Vietnam quite well. I feel very at home.
Well, Hanoi Writers Collective is an interesting club for international writers to meet up and share their works and writings. So why did you decide to found this club?
I noticed that in Hanoi you have this big community of very creative people. And there's lots of things going on, like music events and poetry slams and art contests. But there was no group for people to meet up and share their ideas, share their writing, for people who are Vietnamese or people who are foreigners. And so we wanted to start something where we could all meet up and share our ideas.
I know there are some Vietnamese members and overseas joining this club. What do you think about their works?
It's great. One of the things I really love about this club is that we have lots of people from lots of different backgrounds, and they get to share their view of the world and share different types of writing that have different personalities, different memories and different senses, different ideas about everything. So for me it's great, and you get a lot more insight into Vietnam by reading locals' writings, locals' poems or novels or even short stories. You get a different insight into life in the country.
So how do the Hanoi Writers Club have the members, especially the foreign ones, get familiar with the Vietnamese culture and lifestyle?
Well, I think there's definitely an element of support. So here is quite a good community. People are very friendly with each other and people talk to each other. And actually one thing that I really like is that both Vietnamese and foreigners have made friendships and made lasting relationships so they can talk to one another. And I think there's definitely an element of some of the Vietnamese members helping some of the foreign members with things. Yeah, so if they have a problem, for instance, or if they want to know something about the language or the culture, that definitely happens. And so that's a really good thing for me. Something that we do talk about is Vietnamese literature, foreign literature. And I think one of the main things that foreign members get here is they get insider knowledge and they get to reflect on the things that are unique to Vietnam. One of the things that a lot of writers say that they get from living in Vietnam is there's a lot of sensory experiences that are so different to the West, where a lot of the foreign members come from. So things like the smells, the sights, the pagodas, and yeah, also things like the traffic as well. there's a lot of inspiration there. And that's one of the key things that I think they want to talk about when they come to the meetings.
This is a meeting of Hanoi Writers Collective with the theme of This is Vietnam. The writers will discuss about issues related to Vietnam as literature, music, or simply traffic and street foods. For international writers, when discussing issues related to Vietnam liberally, they will get used to life here. Most of the writings and works of international writers at Hanoi Writers Collective are inspired by Hanoi and Vietnam.
Đây là một chương trình cũng khá hay, tại vì hồi trước mình học creative writing ở bên Mỹ thì nó đúng chuyên ngành của mình, và có những cái chương trình như này thì rất là hay. Thì mình đến mình viết, ngồi nói chuyện về cảm nghĩ về văn học này, về cảm nghĩ về sống tại Việt Nam. Viết là một cách người ta để tự chia sẻ và để cho giảm stress, vì lúc đến một môi trường mới thì ai cũng hơi bị căng để hòa nhập, thì lúc người ta viết thì người ta sẽ cảm thấy thoải mái hơn. Đối với mình khi mình viết thì mình phải tìm hiểu rất là kỹ. Đối với các bạn cùng nhóm của mình cũng thế, là đầu tiên một số vấn đề người ta gặp, người ta không quen lắm, nhưng mà khi mà người ta bắt đầu viết và chia sẻ cảm nhận thì người ta sẽ tìm hiểu kỹ hơn, nói chuyện nhiều hơn để làm cho bài văn mình nó phong phú hơn.
Xét về một cái khía cạnh về vấn đề về tổng thể nói chung á, thì đây là một trong những cái cơ hội mà mình có thể giới thiệu ra các bạn nước ngoài rất là nhiều thứ của Việt Nam mình, từ văn hóa, ẩm thực, nghệ thuật rồi đến truyền thống, tất cả mọi thứ là mình có thể chia sẻ và làm cho họ hiểu sâu hơn và hiểu rõ hơn về cái văn hóa Việt Nam. Thế thì đây là một trong những cái điều mà mình cảm thấy rất là tâm đắc khi mà tham gia vào Hanoi Writers.
Apart from literary exchanges and composing, members of the Hanoi Writers Collective also show their talents, such as drawing, diversifying the topics in each meeting.
Hầu hết mọi người ở trong này đều có rất nhiều khả năng khác nhau. Ví dụ như là Claire chẳng hạn, thì Claire là một cô gái 30 tuổi. Cô ấy cũng là một người viết rất là tốt, cô ấy viết thơ, viết tiểu thuyết. Tuy nhiên cô ấy lại là có một cái niềm đam mê rất là lớn với vẽ. Thì tranh của cô ấy thì rất là tuyệt vời. Và mình nghĩ rằng đây là một trong những cơ hội để các thành viên khác không vẽ và không tham gia hoạt động vẽ hiểu hơn rất nhiều về cái hoạt động vẽ.
In addition to the topics related to Hanoi and Vietnam, Hanoi Writers Collective members also regularly introduce works of Vietnam literature and poetry to learn about the style and unique features of Vietnamese literature. Besides, other activities such as poetry slam were held to attract new members.
In the future, we have the poetry slams that will be coming up every month. And the poetry slams brings together an audience like that. I think it has a lot of, we hear lots of stories about Vietnam and like living in Hanoi, and so we hope to keep it entertaining for both foreigners and local Vietnamese.
Under the current context of global integration, the number of literary works of Vietnam which is translated and presented to international friends is still limited. The activities of meeting and discussing between local and foreign writers will contribute to promote Vietnam's literature to the world. It also connects local and international writers.
Coming back to our talk today, so I can see that members of the Hanoi Writers Collective are coming from different corners of the world. So how did you and your friends have them to find their common interests and freely share their thoughts?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think a lot of it comes from just talking and finding things that we all struggle with or that we all enjoy in our daily lives in Hanoi. And one of the main things that has sort of brought us all together is living in this city. and we have the same challenges and the same opportunities. So that's kind of the thing that brought us all together as one group, I think, and that's one of the main ways that we formed relationships. And, you know, as that's grown, we've been able to share more and more.
Well, I can see that a lot of the works and writings are inspired by Hanoi or Vietnam. Can you give me some of the outstanding examples?
Yeah, so one of our favorite topics, or one of my favorite topics, was we had one on first love. And we took that quite liberally. So first love didn't necessarily mean a person. It could mean like a food or a place. And I think one of the members said their first love was starfruit. And that was really fun and really interesting. Yeah. They loved it because it was the first time they'd ever tried it. And, you know, they were a foreigner, and in their country they'd never seen a starfruit or tried it. And they said that was their first love, or first love in Vietnam anyway. So, yeah, and tonight's topic is This is Vietnam. So it's going to be about the development that we see all the time and how things are changing so quickly in the landscape of Hanoi.
Right, so apart from the meetings, what are the other activities of Hanoi Writers Collective?
Well, the main activity that we're doing at the moment is we're doing a poetry slam, which we've had one already and it was very successful. And we're having another one on Friday the 4th of March. And what we do is we invite speakers, foreign speakers, Vietnamese speakers, and they come up and recite an original poem in English. And the funds that we raise go to HSCV, which is, the Humanitarian Services for the Children of Vietnam. So that's our way of giving something back to Hanoi.
How does Hanoi Writers Collective have the Vietnamese writers and international ones to connect with each other?
My plan actually, and something that I really want to do, is produce maybe a journal or produce a book of different writings on Hanoi by a number of people who've been in our club. That's something that we're going to be developing in the future, along with the poetry slams and with some other events. And that's really what I envision of a way of giving back to Hanoi, a way of saying this is a collection of stories from our time here, or articles from our time here, or poems from our time here. And this is how we feel and how we've experienced the city. As soon as we have enough material, so hopefully in the next few months, maybe we'll give it 2 to 6 months, and by the end of 2016, maybe we'll be able to put something together to publish, yeah.
Well, last but not least, what is your expectation from the activities of Hanoi Writers Collective?
So my expectations for the group in future, I'd like to have more people join, because I find that every person who comes, they bring something to the table. They bring a unique experience and the stories of their life and how they've experienced the city and the country of Vietnam. And that's really what we want to do, and get more people communicating, more people making friends, and more interchange between foreigners who live in Vietnam and the local Vietnamese people.
Thank you, Jasper, for joining our program today. And that is also the end of our program, Sharing Vietnam. This is just one of the examples of the clubs for international writers and Vietnamese writers to connect with each other and share their own writings and artworks. And if you would like to be a part of this kind of club or Hanoi Collective writer, please search them on the social network or simply send an email via sharingvietnam@netviet.net. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.